Welcome to my YouTube channel Maths Content. So today we are going to start from first chapter of grade 9 mathematics NCERT. As you know, there is change in syllabus. So let's start with new syllabus. Okay. So what is the first chapter? The first chapter is orienting yourself, the use of coordinates. First of all, what is the meaning of coordinates? So coordinate is something. Coordinate tells us where something is located. It is coordinate which tell us where something is located. Just like an address tells where your house is. Similarly, in the same way, coordinates tell where a point is. Okay. Okay. Now to describe the exact physical location of points or objects, we use system of coordinates, which is a structured framework. Now to define the location of points in space, if you have to define the location of points in space, so what is required? The idea of grid-based thinking and the geometry is required, which has deep roots in India. Now the first systematic use of grids, where the systematic use of grids occurred, it was occurred in Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Okay, where city was constructed with striking precision from north to south and east to west direction at uniform distance, approx 10 meters apart. So this was a coordinate system in practice at that time. Merchant could find a shop or warehouse by counting north to south and east to west units of distance from the city center. Later, Bodhayan, okay, he used east to west and north to south lines for his deep geometric constructions. And he developed finally Bodhayan Pythagoras theorem, thus laying the foundation of coordinate geometry. Now, putting coordinates on the Earth's surface later became important for navigation. So, for navigation, coordinates became most important. Ujjaini, which is known as Ujjain. It was described in ancient world. Okay, so it was the point. Ujjaini was the point marking the central longitude meridian, from which all the other locations were measured. It is mentioned around 4th century BCE. Then the Greek mathematician Ptolemy around 150 BCE. He built on earlier works including that of Hipparchus, later described the latitudes and longitudes of thousands of locations. He also included Ozine, which is known as Ujjaini. Then उसके बाद आर्यभट्ट आए. Then आर्यभट्ट ने रिप्लेस किया ग्रीक कोड्स को. By what? With science, making it much easier to calculate the coordinates of a star or a city. He also mapped the sky celestial coordinates, measuring coordinates distance from ecliptic, the path of the sun. As we know, Brahmagupta, he formalized the notion and use of zero and the negative numbers as algebraic entities. Brahmagupta formalized the zero, negative numbers, positive numbers, which is known as integers. Okay. Without Brahmagupta's work, the four-quadrant Cartesian plane, as we will study in this chapter, we will study four-quadrant Cartesian plane. So without Brahmagupta's work, it would be impossible. Now, Brahmagupta's work was translated into Arabic as the Sindh and the Ujjaini meridian entered Arabic geography under the name Erin, serving as the zero longitude reference for early Arabic maps, which also then made use of negative numbers. Then the influential Arab scholar Al-Biruni, he traveled to India and he studied Siddhantas and used that Indian trigonometric methods to calculate the coordinates of various cities across Asia. Al-Biruni also later perfected the astrolabe, a handheld device that allowed sailors to find their coordinates by looking at the stars. After that, Omar Khayyam, who had become an expert in Indian decimal system. Okay, what he did, he was the first mathematician who solved algebraic problems by using geometry, by interpreting them in terms of coordinates in the plane. So these concepts eventually reached Europe. Finally ये concept कहाँ पहुँचा? यूरोप पहुँचा 12th century में. The final leap occurred when the following the related work of Fermat. Then Fermat जो है, ठीक है, Rene Descartes. They formalized the fact that any point in a two-dimensional plane. उन्होंने क्या बताया कि two-dimensional plane में कोई भी point could be defined by simply two numbers. ये किसने बताया भाई? रेनी, डिस्क्रिट्स एंड फर्मेट ने. ठीक है, तो टू टू नंबर्स, ठीक है, कोई भी मतलब क्या है, एनी पॉइंट इन अ टू डायमेंशनल प्लेन. टू डायमेंशनल प्लेन में आपको कोई पॉइंट बताना है, so it can be defined by simply taking two numbers representing the point's distance from the perpendicular axis. Two perpendicular axes. Then by using algebra and equations, it was easy to describe points or any and more complex geometric shapes. Now in grades 9 and 10, you will have a chance to study this coordinate system, which has rich history in human thoughts and endeavors. After studying this chapter, you will be able to locate objects with pinpoint accuracy. You will also see how using coordinates it enables us to visualize algebraic equations as geometric shapes and vice versa.